Hello, everyone, and welcome to TC Band Presents Leveraging AI for Career Advancement. My name is Eric Alexander. I'm the founder and CEO of TC Band, and I'm excited to have you all here today to participate in our third session in our Summer Virtual Development Series. If you look at the screen here, we have a session feedback QR code. Our goal is to make sure that we're continuing to provide quality content that meets or exceeds your expectations. And so if you could use your cell phone and click the and capture the QR code, it takes you to a survey that allow you to provide Uzoma some feedback as well as some feedback to TC Band. So we really appreciate it if you could do that for us. So I'll start today's meeting with an overview of TC Band for those who aren't familiar with who we are, why we exist, and how we impact our community. I'll talk about our history, our vision and mission, our results, our board, what makes us different, and then I will transition over to Uzoma. So this is our history, founded in 2013 when I was the incoming president of the Black Affinity Network at General Mills. And so it talks about our lineage and our transition up to date. This is our timeline. So we're founded in 2013. We are a nonprofit 501c3 organization. And so our vision and mission. Our mission is to close the opportunity gap for Black professionals through training, development, and professional networking. This is executed through our vision of leveraging the scale, scope, and skill embodied within our Black affinity networks and the broader community to execute against three key objectives. The first one is to deliver, the second one is to build, and the third one is to create. So deliver quality professional development, build cross-organizational and community connections, and create a safe space for Black professionals to learn, share, and grow together. And so what are our results? We've had over 4,000 planning hours. That's the board and presenters preparing the content. We've had over 116 development sessions, including the session today. We've had 179 plus presenters. We've had over 4,000 attendees. We've had over almost 13,000 hours of development, which should result in a more inspired, equipped, and engaged TC Band community. So how do we do this? So we have a great, impactful, powerful, passionate, and talented board that helps us identify speakers, develop content, plan and execute our events. So I want to highlight them for their efforts to the work that we do. And I also wanted to highlight our sustaining sponsors who are listed at the bottom: General Mills, Wells Fargo, Best Buy, Cargill, US Bank, and Target. So what makes us different? So there are lots of great organizations doing really great things within the Black community and broadly in the US and outside of the US around the world. But we think there are a few things that make us different than some of the other organizations. So we bucket that into you don't and you can. You don't need to be an employee of a large or public company. You don't need to be on the executive track. You don't need an advanced degree. You don't have to pay a fee to attend our events. And you don't have to feel isolated or alone within your organization. You can be honest, transparent, and safe. You can be a non-Black member of a Black ERG or an ally. You can be self-employed or a consultant. You can bring your whole self, and you can have fun, learn, and expand your network. So what is our reach? So in 2023, we had representation in 15 US states and 3 countries on 2 continents. As we play it forward now, we have representation in over 32 states, plus the District of Columbia, 12 plus countries across 5 continents, and we have membership, and I'll have to update this. We have about 1,400 members on our distribution list. So we're excited about the opportunity to grow our network and the opportunity to share content more broadly and impact the professional careers of Black professionals around the globe. So who's represented in our distribution list? So we have organizations from really large, representative from really large companies. We have representatives from really small companies. We have college students, fresh graduates looking for opportunities in networking. So our breadth of exposure, impact, and content supports a broad gamut of organizations, skill levels, and experience levels. So what's our modes of impact? So how do we share our content and impact our community? We have 2 semi-annual hybrid development summits. Those are generally held in Minneapolis. We have our summer virtual series, which is what we're a part of now. We hold Black History Month events. We support Juneteenth. We have a LinkedIn virtual community where you can go in and talk about this session. You can engage with others. We sometimes post job opportunities in the chat, content, LinkedIn articles, those kind of things to make sure our community stays up to speed on what's happening within the broader community and in the workspace. We have a TC Band newsletter that shares what we have going on, as well as what other partners in the community are going on, have going on. And we also have a YouTube on demand site. So this session is being recorded. And so if you want to go back and watch it, you can go online to our YouTube channel. Or if you want to watch one of the other sessions in our summer series or content that we've held previously, you have the opportunity to do that from our website. And again, no cost to individual attendees. This is our operational model. For those who lead or support organizations or have contacts within foundations or philanthropic groups, we welcome the opportunity to discuss partnership opportunities with you. Please email me or reach out to me or send me a message, and we could definitely talk. So this is a picture from our November hybrid summit. This one was hosted by General Mills. This was a group of our attendees from our event that we hosted in June. This is the Mandela Washington Fellows, and I think Enoch is on the call, so he's one of the attendees from that session. So we're very excited for the opportunity to partner with professionals from the continent of Africa and to continue to share content with them as they grow professionally within their careers. If you want to contact us, we're accessible. We have our website, we have a Instagram page, we have a LinkedIn group, and we have a YouTube channel. So we're definitely available. So now that I've talked about TC Band, I'll talk about Uzoma. And so Uzoma is calling in from England, so it's nighttime for him. So he's giving up his evening to provide content for our community. From a background perspective, Uzoma is a social media marketing business analyst. He's an expert in AI-powered marketing strategies. He has 10 plus years of elevating businesses. He has a passion for chill hop. And for those who joined us a little early, the music that was playing in the background as people joined was chill hop. So I'm learning a little bit from Uzoma, more than AI, but also learning about his music preferences. As I mentioned, Uzoma is from England, and there's another celebrity from England who you guys might know, who might or might not be related to Uzoma. I can't confirm or deny this, but that person is Idris Elba. So maybe you saw a resemblance in the pictures. So there you go. So I'm excited to have you here today, and I'm excited about the content that Uzoma is going to share. It's impactful for us as a community to understand AI because it's the future. And so ensuring that we have access to the content and knowledge to leverage that information, those tools and resources to accelerate our careers is important for us. So I want to make sure that we're not left behind and we have access to all the latest trends, knowledge, and expertise. And so that's why we brought Uzoma here today. And so with no further ado, I will stop sharing and hand it over to Uzoma.
Hello. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, Eric. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. And hi to everyone. I was going to say good evening, but I just realized that it might not necessarily be evening where I think it's actually morning. So good morning to you if you're watching, and if you're in the UK, good evening to you. I'm just going to share my screen. Hopefully you can all see my screen. Is it coming through okay? Fantastic. So thanks again for having me. Really appreciate it. I've got a lot of good stuff I think I'm going to share with you as far as AI is concerned. I am particularly excited. I'm very grateful for this privilege to be able to share it with those of you on the call. And I'm particularly excited when it comes to something like AI, because I'm quite aware that sometimes, I don't know how it is for all the businesses in the States and kind of and beyond that, but I know in the UK, sometimes Black people can be disadvantaged and find themselves behind the curve. So something that is available to others, it takes us a little while to catch up. Whereas something like AI, it seems to me that the whole world is learning about it pretty much at the same time. Although it's been around for a little bit, I think it kind of burst into its own with ChatGPT, for example. So, and ChatGPT is it'll be about 2 years old in a couple of months. So a lot has happened in a very short period of time. And it's not one of those things where there's a lot of hype about it and then it fades away. I think this is something that is pretty much here to stay. So I'm really looking forward to an opportunity to kind of make sure we're up to speed and make sure we're using tools that are quite advantageous to us. I think a lot of them are even free of charge. So for some of them, may even look too good to be true, but I assure you that there's some pretty good stuff that can really help boost our careers, help us with our job searching if that's what we're doing. So I'm really excited about the next 45 minutes or so. Now, I am not sure why, but my mouse seems to have stopped working a little bit. There we go. So, an agenda. Quickly go through who I am, who I'm not really. Idris Elba may or may not be related to me, but I'll make sure I cover that for you. At least nobody has said I am Idris Elba, which is good. Pros and cons of AI, a bit about the job process, job searching process, I should say, and how AI can help with that. And we might touch on a little bit about career progression, a bit about branding as well. A couple of career coaches you may want to know. What I'll do is I have put that, I've got a resource that I will get to Eric, which you'll have, I'm sure, by Monday morning, and that will give you some idea of some career coaches who can help you further in terms of progress you might want to make. We'll talk about LinkedIn, your personal brand, what AI tools you can use to really help you with LinkedIn. And we'll touch on tools as we go along the way. The agenda could be a bit fluid, and I say that just in case you do have questions that you might want to ask. I think Eric's going to help me filter them out, but I'll tell you how you can get those questions, and if we'll either take them at the very end, or if I need to go through them just because maybe I'm speaking quickly or you don't understand my accent or something like that, then I'll try and make sure we go through them and cover everything that you're here for. So really excited about it. So the way I work is just we'll have some check-ins from time to time just to make sure you're all following me. If you do feel there needs to be an interruption because you want me to repeat something, or I might be going too fast, by all means, that's absolutely fine. There are a couple of slides where I've got a camera lens where you might want to take a picture if there's information there, but I might remind you, or I might put that in the resource document as well, so you can actually implement them, because the whole purpose of this isn't for you to kind of go away saying, oh, that was an interesting talk. I really want you to take what you hear today and actually go implement it. If you have not used AI tools before, I would love you to go give them a try. You won't break anything. You won't be in, your laptop or your computer or your phone won't take over your home or anything like that. You will be fairly safe. One of the things I say is if you can use Google, you can almost guaranteed use some of these AI tools. So I think you'll be fairly safe, and you'll be pleasantly surprised, I hope, with the progress you can make. If you do want to ask a question so that we can see it easily, please put the word question, ideally in capitals, in front of it, or some question marks, so that we can make sure that we address it, because this session is for you. I see about 37 people in the group today, so please make sure you ask your questions so that we can make sure we address them. And if I can't answer it right now, I'll make sure I get the answer to Eric as soon as I can. I'm going to try not to talk fast, but I might find myself talking fast. Do let me know if it's too fast for you or hard to understand. And based on the fact that I am English, I am currently reaching it is 18 past 6 here in London, as I would like to say, Southeast London, okay? Just if you want to learn a bit of an English accent, tell someone that you expect someone from Southeast London, or Southeast London if you want to speak like the Queen. So if I do use the word CV or resume, forgive me, a CV is kind of what we would call a resume, but I will try and make sure I stick to that to avoid confusing anyone. Eric will help me bring out any questions and interrupt if I need to go back. And please do make use of the QR code, because all of your feedback will be greatly received, good, bad, or indifferent. Okay, most of all, please, let's have some fun, okay? I think I've got some fun things for you, I hope. So I hope we do have a good time. I've got a picture. This is my foster son, and I thought I'd put his picture there because if he does, he plays Minecraft a lot, and I'm hoping that he will be playing Minecraft right now. So if you do hear somebody shouting, "I'm dead," or something like that, or they're killing me, please don't call the CPS, please don't call 911 or 999 if you're in the UK. I promise you, he is okay, all right? I promise you. In fact, that will be all the evidence you need if he's shouting and screaming that he's very much fine. All right. Oh, and I just thought I'd make a note. Okay, I'm the guy with the glasses. Idris Elba, he's the one with the beard, just in case you're mixing us up. And if you do mix us up, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart because that's the best compliment I've had in a long time. Okay, let's get started. Uzoma is my name, Uzoma Isichei. Uzoma is actually a Nigerian name. Uzo means a road, a path, a door, and something ma in the Igbo language, which is the east part of Nigeria, is something good. So Uzoma is actually the good road, the good path, the right door. So I'm really hoping to give you some kind of guidance today. It's because um, for those of you that may not be familiar with Nigerians, when they give you a name, it can actually kind of be a bit prophetic. It's kind of like saying, this is what's going to happen to you. So I'm not surprised I'm helping to teach you. US is Uzoma Solutions, the name of my company. During the day, I work on radio, and in evenings, I tend to help people with digital marketing, AI tools, email marketing, websites to a certain degree. And I love being able to help show businesses how they can make the most of these and advance with what they've got to do. So I cover digital marketing. I have a background in business analysis. So that means that I tend to want to hear what you're about and not just throw tools at you. Sometimes people say, oh, what tool shall I use? What's the best tool or what tool do you use? The best tool is kind of in a roundabout way, a bit like a plumber or a carpenter might say, the best tool is the one you need at the time. So depending on what you're going through, in your career as a business, for example, or for someone that wants to pivot in some way, shape, or form, I can then recommend something to you. So I can help you with business strategy for your social media, building a membership, Facebook, Instagram ads, email marketing, LinkedIn, websites, and so on, ChatGPT and other tools. And that's really where I get a lot of fun. I get a huge kick out of that, particularly for people of my skin color, because I know that it gives us a bit of a level footing where sometimes we might be disadvantaged. So I'm really looking forward to sharing it with you for the next 40 odd minutes or so. These are some of the companies I've worked with. I appreciate you may not be familiar with them unless you're based in the UK. The UK Black Business Show is a huge, almost like an expo, if you like, of Black businesses. There's one next month in the UK. We celebrate Black History Month in October. So the UK Black Business Show will be on there in one of the biggest centers in London called the Excel. And there's going to be a week of activities leading up to that. The Financial Ombudsman Service is basically an arbitration service, and it's the biggest ombudsman in the world. And I've done some digital marketing for them as well. And there are different brands of different sizes and different organizations there, just to give you an idea. So you have an idea of who you're talking to and kind of hopefully a little bit of confidence that I do know a little bit about what I'm talking about. So I've got my contact details there. Of course, Eric will have access to them. Do feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Let me know this is where you found me, or ping me an email. I'll be happy to try and reply. My website is down for now while I revamp it, but it should be up and running in a few short days. But do feel free to reach out to me, take a picture of that, get back to me. If there's something I can help you with concerning this or any of those other topics I've mentioned, I'll be happy to do so. Now, I want to talk a little bit about this. I'm a Christian. Now, there's a reason I'm saying that. I am not going to preach to you. It's not even Sunday. Today is Wednesday. Wednesday is halfway between Sundays. So I might half preach, but I promise I won't preach. But this is I wanted to get a picture of kind of like a mixer. And the reason I wanted to do that is because in our church, one of the things that we found out was that there were a lot more single women that wanted to be in relationships than single men. And then whenever they had a function, the women outnumbered the men quite greatly. Apparently, that's something that happens in a lot of churches. So, what my church pastor did was he said that for those that are single and seeking, he was going to put together, he said, you can come for this mixer event, but you can't come alone. So, if you're a lady, you have to come with a man. And if you're a man, come with a lady. If they're not right for you, they might be right for someone else. And we had that event last month, I think it was, or end of August it was. Yes, last month. And turns out we got about 700 people coming, and it was really turned out well. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because I wanted to emphasize the point that something that might not be right for you might be good for someone else. So with that in mind, I'd love you if you would get in the chat, say hi, introduce who you are, let's know where you're from, and let's know what you need. Are you looking for a job? Are you looking to pivot, change career? Are you looking for something somewhere? And it could be that there's someone in the room right now who has exactly what you want. And also, if you could put a one-liner there about how you can help someone else. So maybe you know somebody in HR somewhere else. Maybe you are in HR, for example. Maybe you are looking for a particular person to fill a particular role. The answer might actually be in this room right now. So if you don't mind doing that, quick chat, few lines in the chat. Hopefully it should get busy in there. Say who you are, where you're from, what you're looking for, and how you can help somebody else. And hopefully, as we look in the chat later, there might be something in there for you. The person that could help you could actually be in the chat right now. So that'd be really great. And then maybe afterwards, you can connect with each other on LinkedIn or whatever the best way of communication is. Okay, let's talk a bit about AI real quickly while you're doing that. Three things I wanted to mention. Number one, it is pretty much here to stay. Okay. It's not a passing trend. It's not something that, it's just going to be a wave and then disappear. It's actually being used for things like Amazon, even Netflix, maybe when you're driving your car. When I was a little smaller, I remember using what was called a map, an A to Z in the UK of driving from one place to another, and I'd guide my dad following it on a piece of paper. But we don't do that anymore. That's kind of consigned to history. And there are certain things I believe will be consigned to history as AI just becomes more a part of our daily lives. So I really don't want you to be scared of it. I really want you to be, willing to get involved and learn a little bit about it and find out how it can work for you, because I'm sure there are ways you can save time, save money, and hopefully make money in some way, shape, or form. The good things, we're all learning about it at the same time. It isn't something that has been around for years and you now need your, I don't know, niece or nephew to necessarily tell you about it. This is something we're all kind of learning about at the same time. So don't feel afraid to do a bit of research on it and find out what's going on. I'm sure the same question you have, a lot of people have. And it can really help you, as I said, to make money, save money, or get you to where you need to be. Okay. One thing I do say though, AI is a bit like kissing a brother or kissing a sister. And what do I mean by that? It means, it's good, but it ain't great. Okay. Now, what do I mean by that? AI can make mistakes. AI is not necessarily perfect. So I'm going to show you some things, but I don't want to sell it to you as if it is the answer to everything. It really is not. That you have come with experience, with skills, with knowledge, lived experience. So don't feel that when you see something in an AI tool that it automatically overwhelms, overrides what you've learned yourself. Please don't think that. AI is good to help you, but don't put your, I would say, don't put your knowledge or experience on hold. Do challenge a few things. Now, I think I've tried that. I've got an illustration of that actually. This is not a trick question, okay? I've got a strawberry there. How many R's are there in strawberry? Now, I've kind of highlighted them. I don't know if my mouse will show. There it is. So you've got one R there, one R there, and one R there. So 3 R's in strawberry. I'm going to show you something. I'm going to, if I can, I'm going to share another screen of mine to actually, oops, I didn't mean to stop sharing screen. I'm going to share another screen of mine to open up ChatGPT, and I'm going to ask that same question to ChatGPT. So if you just bear with me one moment, and it might surprise you what it actually says. It definitely surprised me, but it is something that happens fairly often. So let's open up ChatGPT real quickly. If you haven't got a ChatGPT account, it is fairly easy to open one up. And ChatGPT, the other tools similar to that, and usually they just need a first name, a last name, email address, and that's pretty much enough. And then a password, and you're good to go. If you want to use the paid version, then there's a bit more that goes with that as well. So I've opened up ChatGPT. Let's see what happens. So hopefully you can see the ChatGPT screen. I'm going to ask the same question I just asked before. How many R's are in the word strawberry? And let's see what it says. Can you see that? The word strawberry contains 2 R's. Now, that is a known flaw in ChatGPT. But I think what concerned me and surprised me the most is how much, I say it in the nicest possible way, how much confidence it gives you the wrong answer. There are alternatives to ChatGPT like Google Gemini. Google Gemini also gives a similar wrong answer. And I say this to say to you, as much as I'm going to be extolling the amazing things that AI can do, I don't want you to think AI is perfect. And this is just a small example. And in a sense, I really want it to have just a little nibble of doubt in the back of your mind, just to make sure you do your research, make sure you do your extra compliance, if you like, your own due diligence whenever you see something on ChatGPT, so you don't just take it as gospel. A lot of it is great, but as you can see, it's definitely not perfect. Fascinating if you're a bit of a nerd like me, that something like that is so interesting. I think they're called hallucinations, if my memory serves right. Okay, let's go back to my slides. Just going to bear with me just a moment. There we go. Sorry, the the bar was right in front of where I wanted to be, so couldn't see where it was. There we go. All right, so I want to talk about the structure of a good prompt. Now, I'm not sure how familiar you are with ChatGPT, so I'll quickly explain what a prompt is. When you put information into ChatGPT, you could ask it in a very simple way and you get a fairly decent answer. But when you actually structure what is called a prompt, and I'm going to show you how to do that, you can actually get very detailed information from it. And that way, the information you get to a certain degree is dictated by how you structure your question. So I want to tell you a little bit about how to get your question right. And in the resource that I'll be giving to you afterwards, there'll be a couple of examples of that. So you can actually see how to get the best out of ChatGPT, Google Gemini. There are a couple of others. One's called Claude.ai, another one's called Perplexity. So sometimes the way you ask the question determines the answer you get. So I'll come back to that. Let's talk a bit about the career process. What tends to happen is you might create or update your resume, apply for jobs. Eventually, hopefully somebody gets back to you, go for an interview. You may get more interviews until you finally get the actual job you want. And who knows how long that could take you. Or sometimes you might be in the middle of your career and you might want to pivot into a completely different line of work. Or it might be that you actually feel you want to go into business or something else. So there are different career paths, but very often, most of us are going to be using this one for our kind of line of work. Now, when it comes to a resume, which is the start point for that, there's a question of whether you should write your own resume or whether you should get somebody else to do it. there are people that make a lot of money from writing really good resumes. And then there's some people that want to know, I think one of the questions I was asked beforehand was whether someone should use ChatGPT to actually write it from beginning to end. So it's a hard one to call, if I'm totally honest. I don't think there's necessarily a right and wrong or wrong answer to that. One of my feeling is if you learn the skill for yourself, it can never be taken away from you. And the reason I've used this image in particular is because for those of you that, I can't see you, but for those of you that might be a bit older, you might remember when we used to actually remember phone numbers. I can still remember my childhood phone number from when I was in single figures as an age. But because we've got mobile phones or cell phones, that skill kind of has lost its need. We don't have that skill anymore. And I suspect without having to learn how to write some of your own skills and put that, I don't think anyone can tell your story as well as you can. So I really think there's a benefit in being able to document your own resume and putting things together and using it as a marketing tool, not just a career history tool, but as a marketing tool. But then maybe using ChatGPT to refine that resume or to make it better. So that is the way I would approach it, and that's the way I would suggest it. So for example, let's share that ChatGPT screen again. So I'm going to share ChatGPT with you. So what I could do is upload from this computer a sample resume, which I've got there. And then I'm going to ask ChatGPT, review the attached document and critically analyze it with feedback on how to improve it. So I literally just downloaded a resume from the internet a few moments ago, a sample, so SMM, Social Media Manager resume, just to see what it would do. So what ChatGPT will do is read that document, and it's going to start suggesting on how to improve it. Excuse me. And it goes fairly clearly with that on what it can do. So it talks about what it's done or what I should add to it. So it's giving me suggestions as well. And so it says, this is what I've written. This is what I could write. And avoid redundancy. So it actually gives you reasons for certain things and reasons on what you could, what not to do. So where you might have paid a mentor or got someone to rewrite it for you, you can actually do this and it will give you the things, and you can actually make those amendments in real time, making the changes and tweaking them. And then what you do is you make all of those amendments, review your document, pop it right back into ChatGPT and go back into it and say, could you give me more feedback? And I like to say critically analyze it, simply because it's really important for me that I get the best resume possible so that I know when it's going out, it is showcasing the best of my skills. I've done the best, it's doing the best it can do for me where I can't speak for myself. Then you can take that same resume and go into similar ones like Google Gemini, like Claude.ai, pop the same resume in and say, review it, critically analyze it for me, and then it can give you some more feedback there until you're 100% satisfied it's doing exactly what you want it to do. So that's a brilliant way to get ChatGPT to work for you, give you suggestions, and help you work the best way and find the best way forward. In an equal way, you can also go here, attach the job description. So I'm going to go here now. I've downloaded another sample job description for a social media manager. And I would say something like, based on this job description, how best would I need to amend my resume to match the requirements of this role? Let me know exactly what is missing and that needs to be added. For this role. And depending on how you talk, don't feel you necessarily have to write that. You can, I would, if I wanted to, I could even say something like, make it impossible for me not to kind of get this kind of role. In other words, really critique my resume to make sure I'm in the best position. And it comes out fairly quickly that how much it emphasizes on certain things, but it says you need to tailor your resume more towards the event marketing aspect, which is not strongly represented. I'd experience about this, events experience is essential. They're looking for those kind of skills. So even if you've read it, you may have missed some of those highlighted points, or there may be things that you've actually done, but you just, as far as this is concerned, you didn't highlight them on your resume. So you might say, right, I could go further and I could say, are there bullet points that maybe I can take out because they're not relevant to this particular role? And then ChatGPT will give me those suggestions. I could ask ChatGPT to write it for me, but I would rather, as I said before, I would rather you did that yourself. Another thing to make you aware of is that sometimes it's possible to identify if a document is written by AI. It can be identified. So it's always a good thing if you can use your own words to do so. I strongly suggest that. But this is one great way, and there's lots of feedback there. And then if you wanted to, I could say, please explain point number 3 in more detail. Point number 3 under suggested changes. So one of the things about ChatGPT that you might not know is it does what's called, it understands, if you like, continuous language. So you don't have to kind of type that exact section back in. You can just say, please explain point number 3 in more detail. And then it will go ahead and explain that. There's a deeper breakdown of that. And then you can now decide if you want to highlight some more things in your cover letter based on this. And it goes into it in quite a lot of detail, as you can see. And then technically it could actually, maybe you might look at this and you might think, this isn't the job for me. So there you go. So lots of these, I'm going to click on stop just so we can move on. But there's a lot of information there. And that's just with with a resume and also with a job description. And you can do that with as many job descriptions as you want. Thankfully, things like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, they don't get tired, they don't get bored with your questions. And hopefully, as you see this, you start to review and start to improve yourself, and you start to get more benefit out of them. So let me show you what I think makes a good prompt. What makes a good prompt? This might be a good opportunity for you to take a picture of this particular slide, but it will be included in the resource document later. So a structure of a good prompt. I didn't use that there for time's sake, but what you would ask ChatGPT is, for one, or any other of these AI tools, so you can say you are an XXX expert with Y years of experience. So for example, in that particular scenario, I would have said you are an HR or personnel expert with 5 to 10 years of experience. And what that tells ChatGPT is to only review the last 5 to 10 years of your experience. So you're not kind of giving me information that was based on things that were happening 20 years ago. So a lot of experience isn't always a good thing, but the more relevant experience could be in the last 5 to 10 years. And then to emphasize that, you say, you know how to, and then you put something in brackets there. So that, for example, with the resume, I would say something like, you know how to make sure that your candidates are best positioned for the roles that they apply for. So that kind of niches down exactly the kind of experience and information that ChatGPT is going to look for you. Then you can say, I want you to critically analyze my resume to make sure it is appropriate for a certain role. And then you've got your resume attached, and then that way it really narrows it down. Now, if I put this prompt in with the resume like you saw before, you probably get a different set of information, a bit more detailed, a bit more nuanced, that can really help me get a resume that is really job ready. The optional part at the bottom is also good to actually give you an idea of certain things. So you can say, ask the questions one by one. That will help me improve my resume, and wait for my response before giving me the next question. You can also say, give it to me in bullet points, one at a time. So you can say, give me this one bullet point, then you go change it. Then it brings you the next bullet point, you go change it. You can ask for information in tabular form, in graphs as well. So there are many ways you can actually adapt it to what works best for you. You can also use, here are some tools, Zero GPT, GPT-0, stealthgpt.ai. You can look for those later. Again, those will be included in the resource document, or you might want to take a picture of this screen. And what those do is when you've completed your document, you put it into that, it will tell you, does this look like an AI tool has written this, or does it need to be humanized? And if it comes across that it looks like an AI tool, it's possible that some people will know you've written it with AI, but then it will tell you exactly what you need to do to tweak that so that it looks more human. So even AI knows how to kind of get around itself, which is a weird thing in a way. But there are tools that do that. And this is just 3 out of quite a few. So go ahead, take a picture of that, or make a note of those tools, and you can research them. You do have, with almost every AI tool, there's a free sample, and then there are some, and then after that, you may want to pay depending on how much you use. I think most of them you probably get under $20. Almost all of them you get under $20 a month. Okay, but that's just 3 of some of those. So the structure of a good prompt is really something you want to make note of. It will really help you get the best out of the tools you're using. So those are the things you need to make a note of. Take a picture of that again if you need that. I will send you some examples as well later. I've given you this picture just to let you know. I thought I'd give you an illustration because it reminded me of something that happened to me recently. When I have a massage, I like it to be quite intense because sometimes I get a lot of tension in my neck area, and I like it to be quite intense. But I found out that not everybody likes it that way. My wife, for example, needs to be a bit more gentle so she can actually enjoy it. If it gets too intense, it actually causes her more pain. The point being, everybody's different. So you can adapt ChatGPT or Google Gemini or any other tool to fit what fits you and to bring out the best in terms of what you want from it. So to maybe use an example that might be a bit more down to earth, you can choose for it to talk to you in a very strict tone, or it can actually talk to you like Bernie Mac if you want it to. It's really up to you. And you can literally tell it to say to you, tell it to me as if you're Bernie Mac, or tell it to me and be as critical as you need to be so that it gets the best out of you. And then you make it work accordingly. And you just add that as part of your prompt. How are we doing? Are you still tracking with me? Is everybody good? Are we still working? Eric, thumbs up. Are
We're
we
good.
okay?
Thank you. Lots of good feedback in the chat. We're good.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. All right, let's keep going. I want to talk to you about interview practice using ChatGPT. And I'm going to use the mobile version of ChatGPT for this. So how can you go for an interview? How can you use ChatGPT to practice for an interview. Now, I think I am still a host, Eric, but I don't know if you're able to make my mobile a host
I
again.
made both. I made both hosts.
Okay, it
You should be a
says
co-host on your
only the
cell phone
host
and
can
your.
share. So it's not letting me share. Let me see. Okay. It's saying only the host can share in the meeting. Do I need to stop sharing my screen if I want to share on
Can you try it
my
again?
okay, one more time. Here we go. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to start the broadcast on my phone. Let's just see if we can see it. Okay. Do I need to stop sharing?
Yeah, I don't think you can share on both at the same time.
Okay. Let's try that again. Stop the broadcast, start the broadcast. Let's see if it works this time. Amazing. Thanks, Eric. Okay. So this is my mobile phone, my cell phone screen. Yes. I won't share the audio. Actually, I will. Okay, so this is ChatGPT on my phone. What I have done is the sample resume and the sample job description, I've added them to my phone already to save a bit of time. So I'm going to bring those out of the folder. So this is the resume. And this is the job description. See if it'll let me do both at the same time. There we go. So I'm going to click on open in the corner there. If you do get ChatGPT for your phone, for your mobile device, please make sure it is the right one. Make sure you do not, make sure if, as much as possible, try and make sure it's from the company called OpenAI. Make sure you look for that because there are quite a few that look similar that are not the right one. So you don't want that on your phone necessarily. So I'm going to put in a prompt. I want you to review both of the attached documents and say ready when you have done so. Oops, it's not letting me. Oh, it's unusual. Usually it should let me send that. Okay, let's select all. Put that and let's see if we'll. Ah, perhaps it's not letting me do the document. Okay, so it's letting me only do one at a time. Let me see. So I've sent the job description. Okay, it's giving me a description of what's in there. I'm going to say stop for now. I'm going to add the C. Oh no. I thought you could add infinite documents. It looks like under in the free version, I can only add one. So what I'll do is I'm going to paste that. I was hoping to put my resume in there, but it was one document. Okay. Okay. That's fine. It's only got the one document. So what I'm going to do is this. In the corner where you can see the headphones, that is the audio version of ChatGPT. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to it. Okay, there are a variety of voices. Hello, ChatGPT. Let me see if we can hear it. Hi, ChatGPT, can you hear me? ChatGPT, can you hear me? Oh. Okay. I think, oh, that's unfortunate. It could be because I'm sharing the screen that it's not working. So I
Oh,
might have
Uzoma,
to,
it
sorry,
looks like after you stop talking, it prompts you to talk. So maybe you're talking too early. Is that an option?
let's try again. I'm wondering if it's because my microphone is being used by Zoom at the same time. Okay, that's not working. Let me try and come off the screen and then I'll just keep myself on instead. So what I'll do is I'll stay here and retry. ChatGPT, can you hear me?
I can't hear you, but I can read what you type. If you have another document to upload or anything else to discuss, just let me know.
Okay. Can everybody hear that okay?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is what I would like to do. Yes, DD, it is very cool. Thank you for your feedback. So ChatGPT, based on the job description I have just given you, I would like you to interview me as if I was applying for that job.
Great. Let's get started. I'll ask you some questions based on the job description. First, can you tell me about your experience with event planning and what types of events you have worked on in the past?
Okay, so I just wanted to give you a taster of that. So you saw what the screen, so you can literally ask ChatGPT to interview you. But further to that, what I would also do is I'll say, interview me and also give me feedback on my answer. So then what it will do is it will listen out for your ums, your ahs, your hesitation, and it will tell you the way it would like you to respond. So that way you're now getting interview practice with ChatGPT. And then, as I said, you can ask it to give you the feedback in a way that is strict, or you can give you the feedback in a way that is a bit more lenient. That way, whichever way you digest that information. So that is the way that could really work for you. And that's how you can practice that. Now, you put in your resume as well as the job description. So it looks at your resume, looks at the job description, and then interviews you accordingly. And you can do that back and forth for as long as you need to, get in feedback, get in practice, and so on. So that is, I think that is pretty good. And it looks like there's some good feedback in the chat as well about that. So yeah, that
Oh,
is
Uzoma,
definitely something.
quick question.
Yes, go ahead. Yes, please.
Is
Go
that
ahead.
application only available on the mobile app? If I were doing the desktop or the laptop version of ChatGPT, would it be able to do the same? Would it have the same functionality?
I don't think it does. I
Okay.
don't think it does. I think it seems to only be on the mobile app. That said, by the time somebody might be watching this video in a month or two, that could be completely redundant information. But as at the time I'm saying this to you, there is no voice mode on any of the other, apart from on your phone.
Oh, Uzoma, just one other question from the chat. You're
Sure.
using the free version for this example, correct?
Yes.
Okay, got it. Because that was one of the questions. Is that an upgrade? But it's part of the free version. Thank you.
That is part of the free version. There is a paid version which gives you, I think there are 4 different types of voice accents on that one. The paid version gives you a variety of accents. One distinctly reminds me of people on, I think, is it Abbott Elementary? But anyway, there are quite a range of voices that you can have. You can have memory on that as well. So I can come back to that as well. You can also talk, and that's actually in the free version as well. You can actually tell it to remember previous conversations. One of the things it does not do, it isn't able to take information from the one like you saw me using the desktop. It doesn't take that information and put it on the mobile. They're 2 almost separate, completely distinct things. Okay, but the version I've used is the free one for the example I've got that I showed you. Okay. All righty. How are we doing? Who's let me just check in really quickly. Who's still on the bus? Are you on the bus? Or that's an English bus. That's sometimes what I have to do. I have to end up chasing chasing the bus. Is everybody still with me? Are you still tracking with me? If you're on the bus, I don't know, maybe put a bus emoji in there or something in the chat or something like that. And if you're trying to catch up, I don't know, maybe put a running man emoji in the chat or something. I don't know, but I hope you're still tracking. I hope you're still gaining stuff. I hope it's still meaningful to you.
Well,
I was going to
Uzoma,
say
one
put
other question that came up while we have
sure.
a pause. How do we think about security when we're using ChatGPT? There's a question about security of documents.
Okay, there is the option on ChatGPT. I'm trying. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. I will show it to you, but I may not. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. Under settings, it is something that has come up quite a bit. So there is an option where people can now reduce what ChatGPT gets to see. So, all right, let's
Oh,
see
Uzoma, we can
settings.
add that in the notes if that's better.
Okay,
I know we have about
okay,
15
that's
minutes
fine.
left in the session.
Oh, okay, fine. Let's speed along then. All right. Using LinkedIn and AI for personal branding. Let me try and push through this as quickly as I can. I appreciate that time's not on our side. So I do think that LinkedIn is a great form for using things if you want to become a brand of sorts. Because in essence, being a personal brand is kind of showing your expertise. That's really what it's doing. It's kind of saying, I know this kind of stuff, whatever that is, whether that's HR, whether that's social media management, whether that is data analysis, whatever area of expertise it is you specialize in, LinkedIn is great for being able to do that. You can have your own website as well. You can do after, but I do think that your personal brand, LinkedIn, is probably the best of the social media channels to use for that. Here are a few examples. This one is called photofeeler.com. Now, photofeeler.com technically is not an AI tool, but in a sense, that's not a bad thing. Let me tell you what it does. You might have a number of pictures and you might think, I want to be taken seriously. Which picture should I use on LinkedIn as opposed to the one that you might use on Facebook or on Tinder or some other app? So what happens is you judge other people's pictures and say, are they smart? Do they look smart? Do they look trustworthy? Do they look warm? Whatever. And you give them a rating. The more people that you rate, the more likely people are to rate your image. And then you can put a variety of images and then maybe keep getting them rated. And you will find out this might be the best picture for LinkedIn. This might be the best picture for another app or something based on that. It is completely free because it's based on a quid pro quo thing. So you basically, the more you look at, the more people are likely to look at yours. And so as you build up yours, people start looking at yours and it gets shown to them. Pretty cool, very free. It's called Photo Feeler. And using that helps you address the kind of picture you might use on your LinkedIn. And as you can see, it worked for me because Eric thought I was Idris Elba. All right, moving right along. If you've thought about doing a podcast, another great way of building your brand is podcasts. Can be quite a good way for people to hear in an audible way what you sound like, what your level of expertise is, kind of people you get to interview, and so on. One of the tools that you can use, an AI tool that you can use for that, even if you don't have this kind of professional setup, is one I really like. And as my day job, I work in radio and I still get to use one of these. It's called Adobe Enhance. Adobe Enhance. The website is there and I'll put it in the resource kit as well, podcast.adobe.com/enhance. Now you can record something on your phone, for example, verbally, just on your way around. You might not have a good microphone. What you do is you put it in, sign up. It just requires an email address and your name. And then you pop it in there. There are limits to what you can put in the free one. Pop it in there and it comes out sounding warm, sounding like you've been in a professional studio. Sounds very, very clean. If you go onto the website, This is an actual example. And to be honest, it almost sounds too good to be true. So I do encourage you to give it a try. Just talk into something that's not really a clean microphone and just see what happens. Put it in there and watch what comes back out. And you'll be really surprised at the difference it makes. So even if you don't have a studio, you can use AI tools to sound very professional indeed. And that's a great tool. There are other tools that they have that you might have to pay for, but that one is actually free within limits. Headshots. We've talked about photo feeler, but you can actually get AI to improve your headshots or to do them just using a selfie. This is one of the tools you can use. There are quite a few, but this is definitely one of them. It's called Secta.ai, SECTA.ai. The website is called Sector Labs. What happens is the person used this picture and it generated an AI generated image like that. Looks very slick. You basically take a number of selfies from different angles, and then what happens is when Sector takes care of it, you come out, you're looking nice in a suit, you're wearing professional clothes and different types of professional ones that you can now use for your LinkedIn profile as well. This one, as far as I know, is not free, but the turnaround is very, very good. And most people are quite happy with them, actually. I haven't used them myself, but I do think if you are thinking about maybe paying for professional headshots, for your LinkedIn or for something, maybe you have a resume that would like your image on it. I think looking at Sector.ai might actually surprise you a lot when you put your image in it and get that back out. So do consider that if that is something you want to use AI for. Blog posts. Again, a great way to show your expertise in terms of your brand is to use a blog post to write your expertise and to write information about something. ChatGPT, Google Gemini, Claude.ai can all write blog posts for you. So you can basically say, write me a 300-word blog post on this particular topic, and it will spit it out in a matter of seconds. What I think you should do is if there is a particular topic, particularly if it's something that is relevant happening in the world today. So I don't know, it might be how the elections are relevant to XYZ, for example, which is an area that is relevant to where you are. So then you can start to write it. Your grammar doesn't even have to be perfect. You don't even have to finish all the sentences. You can take what you've got, put that into an AI tool, and then say, finish this up for me, make sure it doesn't exceed more than 300 words. Maybe if you wanted to write 300 words, I would say write 350, and then that way you can cut out what you don't want it to have. And then, of course, use these tools to make sure that it sounds more human when it's done. Okay? So that's pretty much it. Just remains for me to say thank you very much for your time. Apologies for going over time, Eric. I do apologize. I did ramble a bit, but happy to take any questions that you might have.
No, great session.
Sharing.
As I absorbed your information, it felt like we should probably done another hour. Great content. It felt like we were rushing it a little bit. And so I really appreciate your insight. I learned a lot. I look forward to the notes, and I'll share the recording. I do want to open up the floor with the remaining 8 minutes in the call for anyone on the call who has any specific questions for Uzoma that they'd like him to answer. Feel free to come off mute or write it in the chat. So there's a request for additional sessions about AI. Are you available, Uzoma?
I might be. I think I might have charged a fee, but when you said I look like Idris Elba, I was so dazzled. I think I forgot that. So yeah, but this time I might not be fooled twice in a row. So yeah, let's see. But yes, I'd love to do another session. I'd love to. Thank you so much. I appreciate your feedback.
Any other questions? If no questions, I'll pose one, Uzoma. As you talk about using AI to write blog posts and those kind of things, do you have a perspective on kind of the ethical perspective of authenticity of did you write it versus AI? Personally, I'm thinking about writing a book, and I'm like, yeah, could AI help me? So what's your perspective on how much of leveraging AI is helping, and how much of it is like plagiarism versus, to your point, if you write a 350 word blog post and say AI edit it for me down to 300, that's fine. It's your data. But what's your perspective on that?
I think, and it kind of goes back to that image I have of the telephone. What I tend to use AI to do myself is, rather than get it to write for me, I ask it to kind of trigger me, give me suggestions. So I would say, I'm writing a book on XYZ and I want it to do ABC. What questions should I be able to answer in this book? And then AI can ask me those kinds of questions. And then all I would do is, in essence, write the answers to those questions as part of the book. So I get where there might be a bit of an ethical dilemma for some people. I tend to not use it that way myself. I tend to kind of use it to kind of jog my memory, or to probe me to ask certain things. And I would specifically put in my prompt, do not write it for me. Instead, trigger me with questions so that I can generate those for myself. And if the questions don't really help me, I'll say, explain the question, expatiate on that. What do you mean by that? And then by that, I kind of generate my own personal thing. So that's the way I would use AI to write something, rather than getting it to write it myself.
Great, thank you. Any other questions? I would encourage everyone to complete the survey. If you didn't capture the QR code at the beginning, I will send out a link with the notes from the session as well. Last pass, we have 5 minutes. Any other questions for Uzoma? Otherwise, I'll let him go eat his dinner. Okay, great. So I interpret no questions to mean that you did an outstanding job of answering the questions as part of your presentation, and there are no questions remaining. So outstanding job. So thanks for joining us. I appreciate your insight. I appreciate your humor. And when you at your next opportunity, can you say hello to your cousin Idris for me?
Yeah, I'll probably try and take a selfie or something. I'll get him to say a word to you or something. Yeah, he's probably living down the road or something like that. Hilarious.
All right, sounds good. Thank
Thank
you.
you, thank you everybody for coming. I really appreciate those of you that have stayed all the way to the end. I don't take your time for granted. It's probably the most valuable compliment you can pay. So thank you so much, and I value any feedback you send.
Great, thank you. Everyone, thanks for joining. We look forward to seeing you at our future sessions. Please follow us on our LinkedIn site, our YouTube site, and we look forward to seeing you again. Have a good remainder of your day.